All right, so we're gonna start our late April garden tour. Now, I'm gonna call this messy, or I don't know, real life garden tour. Not because it's extremely messy or whatnot, but it's real life. And I get a lot of comments saying how nice my garden looks and how organized and pretty and put together it looks. And though I thrive in that atmosphere as well, and I enjoy that, it's not always that way. So instead of getting sweaty and nasty in this 90-degree weather, trying to hurry up and make it look as pretty as possible so that I can film the garden tour, I'm just going to let you guys see what it looks like right now. And right now, when it's this hot, I don't want to come out when the sun is shining and work on making it look as beautiful as possible. It still looks good. I still love it. But this is what it looks like in real life. So we'll start here with the whiskey barrel. So it's looking good. We've got our chamomile here. I think I'm going to try and cut this back. This is my first time growing chamomile, and I didn't save any of it, but I want to. But I think I read somewhere that if I cut it back, it'll bloom more. We'll see. On both sides. Let's see here. You see? They're getting pretty tall. I'll show you a little fun surprise here. This is outside of the garden. I don't know what this is. This is all over. I was wondering if this was chamomile at first, but I don't think it is. I think it's some sort of weed or something. I'm not sure. But I haven't removed it yet. But next to it here, I don't know if you guys can see, I have a mystery tomato plant. He's about a foot and a half tall, and I'm just leaving him. He's got some flowers. It's a mystery plant, so we are not sure what kind it is. I'm sure it's going to be an indeterminate variety, but we'll leave him there and see what he turns out to be. We've got some flowers in here. These are going to seed, and I actually saved some seeds. This flower, I didn't know what it was, so I had to Google it, but it's a perennial, and it's called a pink treasure flower. So I saved some seeds, so that'll be fun to plant throughout the garden next year and have it come back all the time. Okay, so this side of the trellis, man, are you guys dying to see these trellises covered in green like I am? I feel like I've been waiting years for it to happen. We do have some sugar snap peas. These are the magnolia ones. These I got because they're supposed to grow pretty tall. They're not that tall. I guess maybe 5.5 feet or so. But they're not as sweet as my I think they're gray, what are they? Gray sugar baby peas or something. Just like my standard pack. These I actually looked for, and yeah, I'm just not impressed with the taste. So I'll probably go switch back to the other ones next time. And again, nothing growing on the tunnel yet. So we'll start on this side. This is a honey nut squash. So this will hopefully, the game plan is for this to grow up this trellis and cover it on this side. And then on this side, it's hard to see back here, but right here, this one is a honey boat delicata squash. So I will hopefully get to see this one climb up this side of the trellis. But back to this bed. So we've got our honey nut squash there, first time growing that. This bed, I planted 72 beans in, and nothing popped up here in the center. All of this was bare. So I went on a planting mania, and after a month of no seeds popping up there, you can tell how much bigger these ones are. These are the ones that originally popped up. I decided to just plant a bunch more, and look. I don't know if the soil just wasn't hot enough. You would think in the 80s it would have been, but they're all starting to pop up. This part of the bed, I think gets the most sun, and look at this. Everything's like crispy. I planted a watermelon here, nothing popped up. And I have a baby one right there. But we'll see. This is the real life stuff I'm talking about. Normally stuff like this would be moved out of sight for garden tours. But the reality is we're in the 90s, and some of my plants aren't particularly excited about that heat yet, or at least the sun. So I have shade cloth. You'll notice on the beds I've put in these PVC pipe. I've just made little arches out of them, bolted them to the bed here, and then I just lay that shade cloth over the top to give them some shade. Took them off for the garden tour purposes, but there they are laying. So this bed originally had the onions and the carrots in it. In the front here we had the 1,000 head kale, I think it was. So that's come out. It's obviously too hot for the brassicas. We had some bolting onions, some flowering onions, so I pulled those out. So this is kind of what we're left with. It doesn't look that great. But, and then we've got some smaller onions around the back. Something that you will notice though is some of the changes that I'm making in the garden. One being these garden grids right here that you see. These will be hooked up to a hose and on a timer. I have 4 of these and they have always been connected and put on the in-ground area back there since I got them. I decided that that area gets a little bit more shade than these that are directly out here. So to make it easier on me and to make the plants a little more comfortable, I've split up the 4 watering grids into these beds, and I will connect them up together, put them on a timer. I just haven't gotten to that yet. I've got some maintenance I need to do before I put them in, so I want to, you know, top off the soil, things like that. Get them prepped for what I'm going to plant in next. But you'll notice those if you're wondering why they're kind of just sitting on top of the bed. That's why. They will eventually go under these little metal pieces here. Right here we've got a cantaloupe. I've noticed a lot of yellowing, and I don't know if it's because they're drying out too much or something to do with nutrients. When we went on our planting spree, one of the things I planted was Crenshaw melon. So this guy looks broke or pinched. See that? That's fine. I was going to thin him out anyways, but hopefully this guy will last. And I'll put the shade cloth back up once we're done with the garden tour to give him a little break. And then on the corners here where that kale was, I put a little baby watermelon there and a baby watermelon there. So those are bush varieties. So this will essentially have onions and melons. We'll see what else I add in here. We also have some flowers. These flowers are ones I started from seed. Oh, these are cupcake cosmos. So they actually look, my first time growing them, they actually look like the wrappers from cupcakes. So I'm pretty excited to see those. On this bed, which is our designated hot pepper bed, we had the kale all over here. We've got all the kale taken out except the curly kale. I'm going to try and harvest some of that before I take it out. I've got some flowers that I've planted. I grew them inside from seed. There's 3, and this one is actually starting to get ahead. I don't know if you guys can see that there. But these are apricot cosmos. I'm trying to do my best to add more flowers into the garden, one for the beauty aspect, but also to bring in the pollinators. So you'll notice that throughout. Again, the grid just kind of sitting on top. I need to level out the soil, you know, add some nutrients back into it and whatnot. And then these are our spicy peppers here. So these are ones that we started from seed inside. And then these are ones that I have overwintered from last year. This one is not coming back. Look at him. Look at him. These PVC pipes, like you guys know, with the fencing, the cattle panels and whatnot, I like black. I just feel like it looks more put together. And sure, it's not probably as organic as it could be, but I will spray paint these black just like I did the other ones. I don't spray paint the part that goes into the soil, but the part that hangs out up here, it's just more pleasing to my eye when it's not this color. So I will be doing that. Over here, here's another real life look. This is the pollinator patch. You'll see the shade cloth. This is the hottest part of the garden right here. I always have issues with getting stuff to grow in this area because it gets direct sun most of the day. I call it the corner of death. So the wildflower pack that we put in here, everything was growing and looking great. Tons and tons and tons of bees, which I love. But then it started frying, and the rows back there started frying. I'll give you guys a closer look here in a second. So I added some shade cloth. Also, because of all of the bees, I added, sure, it's not exactly pretty right now, but I added this. It's just the base part of a ceramic pot, and I added these so the bees can land on them, but I added water in here to give them some sort of water in this heat. But you'll be able to see that is a rose and it's fried. So you can see some of the stuff is just not looking so hot. You see what I mean? So drying out. So I wanted to give some shade, and that's real life, and that looks nasty. It's not mold. That's just where the spray paint had. I put that over something to block it from getting spray paint on it, and that's just the spray paint patches or splatters. On to the in-ground area. This is a Seminole pumpkin. We started it from seed, and he's doing good. So this will trail down. First time growing that one. I tried it. Sweet alyssum has been popping up all over the yard, and so I tried to transplant it up here. And let me just tell you, it didn't like it. It did not like it. Was not a success, but that's okay. We tried. In the back here, we've got our overwintered indeterminate tomatoes, different varieties. These weren't looking so hot due to the cold temperatures we were having because I wasn't covering them. So I kind of cut off most of that. You can still see there's some right there that doesn't look so hot, but they're all still producing pretty well. So yeah, I'm just gonna let them hang out. Our determinate tomatoes are in the front here, and those ones are doing fine. We've got some aromas here. Look at that. These ones are started from seed. This one doesn't have any on it yet, but we've got some flowers. And then this little guy, I'm actually going to move him to the open spot right there. But this one was from seed too, and he's got some tomatoes going already. But he needs some support, so I'm going to move him over there. We've got some, these are just onions. I'm pretty sure these are bulbing onions and should be separated, but they were extra ones I had, and I just threw them in right here to just have. I like how they look. They'll help with pests, hopefully, and we can use them as green onions. Back this way a little bit, we've got some dill. I love the way it smells and tastes. I don't know how much longer it'll last in the heat, but it's doing okay. This whole area had the lettuce in it, which we harvested. Some went to the rabbit, some went to the worms, some went to us, and then this is what's left. It still looks pretty, but this is bolting. This one is bolting. And let's see if there's some bugs. Surprisingly, the bugs don't care so much about the like red or purple variety. Same with my cabbage. I might do all purple cabbage this upcoming fall because the pests didn't touch those not one bit. So these will probably be taken out soon and given to Blue, the bunny. Let's see. It's so strange to me to see this area without the grids because, again, since I've had the grids, so for maybe like a year or two years, year and a half, this entire area has had those grids. So everything has seemed so structured up here, like the square foot gardening from the grid. So seeing it like this is kind of refreshing. I like that it's different, but also I feel like I want to change up this in-ground area. I really like the way the beds look and I feel comfortable there. But this in-ground area, I think I want to switch it up a bit and have some fun. So I feel like I have more, I don't know, I see more vision to do that without those grids in here. So I will be hand watering this area. Believe it or not, the soil looks so dry right now, but everything was already watered this morning. It's just that hot out. So now we're on to this arch here. On this side, this is where we started cucumbers inside and spaghetti squash. This is our muncher cucumber. There's 2 of them here. They're gonna climb this trellis hopefully. And then look at this. This is the star of the garden right now. I don't know if you can see on camera how big it is or how good it's doing, but this right here is the spaghetti squash. First time growing that, but look at it. It's finding its way right on up the trellis, doing its job. So that will help cover this trellis. Baby steps, we're getting there. I'm gonna finish up with the in-ground area before I switch to the rest of the beds. This is a ground cherry. I've never successfully grown it. And they say don't put it in the ground. They say put it in pots or else you're always going to have them. But this guy's probably going to get moved because he doesn't get much sun right here. He's shaded out. Or I might leave him because the cilantro that's bolted, once it's gone, you can see it gives him some sun. Now, all of this right here is bolted cilantro. I'm leaving it, one, because I think it looks pretty. Pollinators love it. I think it looks pretty. But also, I'm pretty decent about growing stuff from seeds now. I feel pretty confident in it. So the next kind of, I don't know, learning curve for me is going to be maybe trying to save some seeds and learning that process and becoming successful. So that's another reason the cilantro is still here, is because it's gone to seed. You see these little balls? So those are the cilantro seeds. You see them? I'm waiting for them to dry out a bit. But cilantro seeds are actually called coriander, which is a spice you can use in the garden. So I won't use it for that, but I will be using these seeds to grow more of our own cilantro. So that's why this is kind of wild right now, I guess. These are our tomatoes that we started in December. So these are our new tomatoes. Those are our overwintered tomatoes. So those ones are older. These are our new ones. We've got an ugly leaf right here. But other than that, he looks good. San Marzano, this is my first time growing those. I want to use them. I guess those are the tomatoes that they use to make spaghetti sauce in Italy. So I'm gonna try and use those. Those are like a paste tomato, kind of like a Roma tomato, more of a paste tomato. So I'm excited for that. The rest of these are all cherry type tomatoes. So we have sun gold, which are probably my favorite. Oh, look, we have some baby tomatoes on here. And then we have black strawberry. These I actually liked. These get bigger than like the sun gold. And look at, we have one. You see him? You see his stripes? Super cool. In here we've got basil that has been transplanted many times throughout the garden. It had a rough start, and it's still having a rough start. So it's flowered, but the pollinators like it, so I'm leaving it. I have another round of basil in the house that I've started, so these will get replaced soon, but they're just hanging out for now. This is a rosemary. He's not looking so hot. Not really sure. My sage. This one looks done for. This one's still trying to thrive. My little workbench. I love this thing. OJ got it for me for Christmas. Love, love, love. Moving on over here. The pumpkins are doing good things for me, or the winter squash are doing good things for me so far. I started them earlier this year than I did last year, because by the time they started growing the actual fruit, the actual pumpkin, it was too late. So I started them a lot earlier this year, because if we get the pumpkins sooner, who cares? I don't mind having some pumpkins sit around. Okay, so we've got 3 kinds of pumpkins here. We've got sugar pie pumpkin, baby boot pumpkin, which is the little white ones, and then Jack B. Little. So they've already got a lot of flowers on them. They're all male flowers, so I'm not going to get any fruit yet, but they are thriving. Look at this guy stretching out. Love it. Then we have our sunflower wall here. So along this wall here, so this is a kids' play area, and then the fence of the garden is right here. So I thought it'd be fun to put sunflowers all along here to kind of separate it with beauty. So some of them are already up to my hip. Look at that. And then some of them are still little, but that's okay. This one, there was one right here. This is the only space in here, but I accidentally broke that one. But that's okay. These will fill out. These are the mammoth ones, I believe. So these should get, I think, about 12 feet tall. I've never had sunflowers get that tall, so we'll see. This is another part of the real life, because this isn't stuff that I would let you guys see in my typical garden tours. But look at this. This is the quote-unquote orchard area right here that I'm attempting to make, but look at it in the process. Yeah, this is not quite what you want to see in a garden tour, huh? Real life. Alright, so here's our in-ground area. Now we're on to our sweet pepper bed. This bed has caused us quite a bit of grief, but that's okay. We're bouncing back. We've got an eggplant here. Got a couple sweet peppers. These are all the sweet peppers that we overwintered here. And then this whole spot was filled with pepper seedlings that I accidentally killed. But that's okay, because I'll show you in a bit. I started more of the same peppers because, oh gosh. Another real life moment. I was just in the middle of telling you guys how I accidentally killed all these pepper seedlings, but I was going to be okay because I started new seedlings of all of these peppers that I had growing in my Arrow Garden hydro system inside, so they grew really fast, and I was going to be hardening them off soon to put them in here. Probably won't produce this season, but they should produce in fall. And as I was saying that, the damn wind blew, because I had them hardening off over there. The wind blew that thing and knocked them all onto the floor. So believe it or not, there's 21 or 22 pepper plants here. Problem is, I had it labeled in the order that I had them planted because this was filled with soil. And now, I don't know what pepper is what. So, now we've got 22 mystery peppers. I at least know that they're all sweet peppers, so they're going to go over here. But as far as which is which, good luck. And that is real life. That's disappointing. It's round 2 of these damn sweet peppers trying to get me. Anyways, that's the sweet pepper bed. Now we're on to this bed, which is where I had the garlic and cabbage. As you can see, those things have been harvested out. This is the Swiss chard that was originally in that kale bed. And I transplanted over here, and it was not looking so hot, so I cut it all way back to see if I can get it to bounce back, and look, it sure did. Still doing good. So, garlic's gone, cabbage is gone. So now I have squash and zucchini, summer squash and zucchini. So I have one here, he's not, let me go on this side so you don't see my shadow. Not looking so hot. This is the golden zucchini, look at him. Who knows? What I've noticed is these look pretty yellow. And I don't know if it's because they're dry or need nutrients, I'm not sure. But he's got flowers. This is the yellow summer squash. And then this one, look, this was our first actual flower. It's a male, but that's fine. So cute, right? This is the same as the one in this corner, which is the long white zucchini. So, this is another work in progress bed. Obviously, I harvested all that stuff out, so I need to kind of amend the soil, top it off, put the watering grid in and whatnot. I don't have a game plan for the center in here. I don't know what I'm going to put in there yet. Actually, I lied. I think I'm going to put the Chinese long green beans in here. And we'll see if, because I don't have anything else in mind that I want planted, but I don't want to just leave the open space. So I think I'm going to take advantage of that. I've never grown those. Nani saved those for us from her garden, so I want to give it a try. But this is the bed that originally had the cabbage. So we've got our sunflower wall there. We've got our fig tree right here, which, look at this, is exploding with figs. Let's see. Then from this current squash bed to this bed, I haven't decided if I love this yet. I don't like that it's taken up a lot of my walk space here, but in here we have sweet potatoes, slips that we started ourselves inside. And when I first brought them out, they were all turning like brown and dying, but I don't know if it's just because it needed more sun, but now they're growing. They're climbing. And then I've never grown okra, and I got some in a seed exchange, so I planted a couple in here. This one got pulled up or eaten. I have a watering Oya in here, the DIY one I made, just to kind of give it some extra water, because again, this part gets a lot of sun. Let me move this way. We've got our last potato bag. This one I didn't hill up or mount up, however you want to call it. So I don't know how many I'm actually going to get in here, but anything is better than nothing, and the kids have an absolute blast dumping these out and hunting for the potatoes. So we'll be doing that here pretty soon, because it's dying back, which is exactly what you want. And then now we're back to the front. This is the one with the peas right here. And I've got more green beans in this. This one is the blue lake bush bean in here. And then we have our honey boat delicata squash right there that's going to be climbing up, hopefully. Now, in this bed before, we had, we threw a bunch of, I thought they were radishes. I've been telling you guys, oh, I don't grow, everybody says to grow radishes. They're the easiest for gardeners and blah, blah, blah. I don't have success with radishes. They take forever to grow, like months, and it's just discouraging. I haven't had any success with them. I thought these were radishes we put in here. Amila planted these in here. I pulled some out the other day, of the bigger ones, just to give the green beans more space, because they're getting bigger now. And I was so excited. I had a really good size radish, and I was so excited, cleaned them off. I was bragging to everybody in the house about them, cleaned them off, cut into it. I was going to eat it as a snack, and it was like deep, deep red on the inside, and I was like, I'm pretty sure radishes are white on the inside, but who knows. And then I bit into it, and it was like sweet, and usually radishes either don't have like a big flavor, or they have like a little bit of a spice to them. Definitely not sweet. And I was like, what the heck? So I googled radish with red insides, and let me tell you, the internet told me that was a beet, and it made sense. So I still have not successfully grown radishes. So here's a little baby one, and I thought for sure this was a radish, but look, it's definitely a beet. Good thing I like beets. Well, that's it, guys. Okay, we got some peas growing here. Well, that's it, guys. I think that's going to conclude our real life garden tour here. And I've got a whole list right here under my phone of things that I'm going to be doing in the garden. You know, topping the soil off, amending it, planting new things out, making adjustments and whatnot. So you guys will get to see all of that in the next garden tour. I know. I was supposed to do 2 a month and I missed the one from the beginning of this month. But I'm back. And this is the end. This is the end of the April garden. And I'll see you for the next garden tour. Hope you enjoyed today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and happy gardening.